Hello and welcome to another edition of Canutillo Combos, the official Canutillo ISD podcast. We're here. I'm Gustavo Reveles, the Director of Communications, and we're here obviously with our fearless leader, our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Pedro Galaviz.
And Laura Caballero.
Laura Caballero is always...
Who's the brain.
The brain behind she's the Wizard of Oz over here.
Wizard of Oz. Wizard. True. Hey, Gus, happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride to everyone.
Happy Pride. I forgot to say it. I feel bad.
No, it's fine. We had a good time this past weekend at the parade. We have a couple of students that we saw over there celebrating, and good time was had by all. It's a great celebration. Great way of making sure that we educate every child in our school district. Everyone's welcome in our school district.
How long yet? What's the history behind that?
Pride. Well, Pride started in 1969. It started in New York City as a riot. So there's a lot of shirts that say Pride was a riot, right?
Okay.
And a lot of people take it as it was a lot of fun, but it actually started as a riot in protest of abuse and protest of discrimination against the LGBT community. So that's it started first in 1969 in New York City, and it expanded to San Francisco the year after that. And little by little, it's been expanding everywhere. We have Sun City Pride here in El Paso, and our students participate in the parade that was held this last Saturday. And it's like I said, Canutillo ISD's making sure that we welcome all students. We strongly believe that every student deserves an education and to have access to high quality services, regardless of their background, their belief system, their religion, or their who they love. So we're happy to be an all-inclusive school district.
It's I'll say I don't know what word, unfortunate or fortunate, I don't know, but most like Pride, MLK Day, some of the things that we celebrate were painful in the history of this country, right? They started off with people not being wanted, people not being accepted.
Yeah, and there's a lot of rhetoric behind that, right? Why do we have to celebrate Pride, or why do we have to celebrate Black History Month, or why can we just why is the celebration needed? Why is this day needed? Well, it's needed because at one point, you couldn't do that. It's a recognition of that struggle to be recognized, to be celebrated, and to be part of the community. That's why it's needed.
And that's why today's Flag Day.
Today's Flag Day.
So in the 1700s, we weren't a wanted country by Britain and we weren't. So we had to go through our tumultuous history in our country to celebrate Flag Day.
It's every celebration is worthwhile, and we strongly believe that that when we celebrate Black History Month, when we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Month, when we celebrate Women's History Month, all these celebrations have meaning behind them. All these celebrations have
July 4th,
July, everything. So there's a rhyme and a reason for everything. And there's people that don't believe in it, don't want to, that is perhaps meaningless, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It's just it doesn't impact their life, but it doesn't mean that it's not important to someone.
Well, any time you get to eat a hot dog and grill some hamburgers on July 4th, or celebrate Pride, celebrate MLK. I don't think people remember. People forget on what it has taken for us to be here today, and to be acceptance of all people.
Well, I think when we talk, we observed Memorial Day a couple of weeks ago, and it's an observation, right? And every time we post, there's comments. For example, we post on social media. There's comments about people forget about this, and people and if you have the privilege and you have the capacity to have a day like Memorial Day, for example, be meaningless to you because you've not lost someone in combat, you've lost, you've not lost someone in the military, then that's a privilege and good for you, right? You don't have, that day is perhaps not as meaningful to you as it is to others. But for a lot of families, Memorial Day is very important because they've lost someone.
But not only that, I mean, but we have lost military personnel for that person not to experience that.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think that's where I was going, Every holiday means something to someone, right?
And sacrifices were made.
The sacrifices were made, and people had to suffer and fight and struggle for that. So to dismiss it is perhaps nature, but we're here to celebrate every single person that's here.
I know that's not today's topic.
It's not. But it's worth pointing it out. We did post about Pride, and we did get a lot of people commenting in a negative way. We got a lot of people commenting in positive ways too. But we want to make sure that people understand that this is about celebrating the right of our students to have access to education.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing.
Well, it's funny. I was at Dunkin' Donuts this morning, and there's a veteran, and he walks every morning, and I saw him, and today we happened to meet, cross paths. I said, "Hey, good morning," and he goes, "Good morning, young man." So older gentleman. Well, I'm old too, but he's older than me, and I said, "Hey, the good Lord woke me up. Good Lord woke me up to lead the way," and so that's all our blessings, right? Every day, and people who. That's why this country is so great, because of the freedoms that they have to disagree or not disagree, or to have that discourse, and that's what.
Disagreement is fine. It's how you disagree, and how you approach those conversations. That unfortunately we've lost that art form in our country recently, but hopefully we'll get it back.
Oh, we'll get it back.
Yeah.
We'll get it back.
But we were talking about access to education, and that's the topic of this week's podcast. We have a special guest with us, our Executive Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Jesica Arellano.
Good morning. How
Welcome.
are you? Thank you.
Soon to be Dr. Arellano.
Soon to be Dr. Arellano, yes.
She just got done defending her proposal at the university that will not be named.
Which one is
Texas A&M.
Well, that's the end of this podcast. And just kidding. No. Congratulations. Well, Ms. Arellano, we want to talk about an exciting announcement for Canutillo ISD. We were the first school district in El Paso to offer public Montessori. And it was wildly successful at Garcia Elementary School, and now we get to announce that we're expanding the program starting next year. Not only are we adding a grade at Garcia Elementary School, but we are starting a unit or a couple of units at Davenport Elementary School.
That's correct. And so, like you said, we're expanding at Garcia Elementary. We're now going to offer. We'll have 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds in our Montessori program, and at Deanna Davenport, they are going to open 2 sections for 3-year-olds there as well. So we're really, really excited about expanding our program and eventually, hopefully, having them at all the elementary schools. That's the goal.
Doc, this Montessori program really proved to be popular. Ms. Arellano was telling us that we had a waiting list of over 100 people, and obviously there's a lot of interest in our community to access this type of program and access this type of education for our kids, and want to make sure that people understand this is free and public. We've had Montessori in El Paso for decades, but it's always has been a program that you have to pay tuition into. Where now, since this school year that just finished, we're able to offer it for free to all qualifying families that we can welcome, and we're going to continue to do it now at Davenport, which is a community that traditionally wouldn't have access to this type of programs. Doc, what does it mean to give a community like Davenport something
Well,
like
you
like
talk
Montessori?
about access and opportunity.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's giving all kids the opportunity to experience this pedagogy, which is Montessori, which is different from the traditional. So I think it's huge because, again, we are about equity. And that's when you talk about leading for results and equity, which we do here in Canotio. It's providing equitable services so all children have that same opportunity.
Right.
And I guess I keep access and opportunity keeps going through my head, and really, and it's taking teachers that have the Montessori, they're pure Montessori, and bringing them into our system
Yeah.
and doing a hybrid, not a hybrid, but us learning from them and their pedagogy,
Right.
so we can better teach our own kids. So again, it's huge, it's great, and again, but there's a price.
There
You know,
is.
there's a price that we have to pay because, again, to get teachers and to get Montessori, because it's a different classroom setting, so you have to get the materials.
It is. It's not a cheap endeavor for us, but it's a worthwhile one. We saw this, and I'm glad you mentioned this, Doc, because last year we brought in 2 new teachers.
Guides, Montessori
And they're
guides.
called guides, right?
Guides.
In the lingo of Montessori, they're called guides. And these are not teachers that that were ours and then we went and had them trained. These are actual certified teachers that we brought in from the Montessori system into our school system. So they were able to be successful because they were trained. They were brought up in this system. And now we're going to be able to do the same now at Davenport.
Right, and we're very fortunate to be bringing more expertise at Deanna Davenport. The Montessori guide that we're looking into has 17 years experience in the Montessori, and so I think, like Dr. Galaviz mentioned, the beauty of it is that they also are required to have their teaching certification. So you are getting the best of both, and you're able to follow the Montessori pedagogy, but you also have that knowledge of the public education and those standards, and then that pedagogy for early childhood, which I think is very, very important. And I think our teachers see the benefit. So at Garcia, you have other early childhood teachers asking, what are you doing in there? They see the difference that these 3-year-olds, the strides they're making, and now they want to become certified because they want to be able to also give to our students that training as well, because they see the difference. And so that's very, very exciting. To be able to expand to our existing teachers that Montessori certification.
And that Montessori program is pretty particular, right? It's a very independent learning sort of system that the guides use to really lead students to learn the way they want to learn, and it's a specific type of student, a specific type of parent that comes into this program is successful. But obviously, there's an interest there for families.
Yeah, they're so patient.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not traditionally. You want to give the student the answer. You want to zipper up their jacket. You want to feed. That's what we want to do. But they allow the child to evolve on their own, in their own time, in their own space, and they're just so very. I mean, I see them work with these kids and different kids that can't zip their jacket. No, and I want to go help them right away. I want to go tie their shoe, which I do. I usually see a shoe. Hey, can I tie your shoe? And I tie it. But they're like, no. It goes back to, let's say you teach a person to fish.
Yeah.
You give them a fish to eat for one day, but you teach them to fish. Basically, that's the way I think of Montessori is, because they're teaching kids so they can eat every day in their lives. So
yeah, it's those kids. Every time we would go to Garcia, we would see them do a lot of fun stuff, right? It looks like a lot of fun, but it's learning. It's learning by playing. You know, that's the way they was explained to me.
Practical life,
Yeah.
sensorial, things like that. And I think we realized that it's not for everyone.
Right.
And so we wanted to give our district and our parents, our community, a choice. And so leading into the
Well,
pre-K
you know,
3.
And I'm glad you made that transition here, because you know we do have several choices for early childhood education in our school district, and one that we're also announcing and also opening this upcoming fall is pre-K for 3-year-olds at Cantillo Elementary School.
Cantillo Elementary, and it's exciting because in this, and this is something we've done at all our campuses, but we're really following the Reggio Emilia approach, which is more of a collaborative approach, and all our campuses have the play centers that, located. But I think what we appreciated about hosting it at Cantillo Elementary is, of course, we have great leadership at all our campuses, but it's a central location. We felt it would be a good start, and we're going to bring in one unit, hopefully 2, depending on the response. But Ms. Esparza and Sandy Carrillo, our early childhood coordinator, are working really hard to prepare that unit and hopefully have an open house soon, so that those interested can come and see what it's going to look like.
We are planning open houses for early July, so that people can come check it out and get registered. But Doc, normally when we think of pre-K, we think of 4-year-olds, and we think kinder for 5-year-olds. Why is it important to bring a 3-year-old?
Well, it's
Which families
because,
benefit from this?
well, that's the way the system was set up for 4-year-olds, right? And now we know that research has shown that earlier that we as experts can get your hand on your child, even from newborn, if we get them. That's why those Head Starts are so.
Right.
You go to Head Start, it's phenomenal. But it shouldn't just be for the ones who qualify. It should be for all kids.
Right.
All kids should have access, regardless of what part of the tracks or who your parents are or where, what language. All children should have access to, because it's for the better good of our society.
Well, and unfortunately, and just so parents understand, we are funded for pre-K based only if your student qualifies, right? And there's several guidelines for qualification: income, language, if your student does not speak English, if your student is the child of military or first responders, for example, if your student, if your family qualifies under the homeless provision. So that's the way we're qualified. We're taking it a step further. We do want to make sure we serve those communities and those students, but we're taking it a step further, and we're offering some universal slots in both for Montessori and for PK3 for families that wouldn't qualify normally but want to take advantage of that type of education. So if you are that family, if you are a family that perhaps doesn't meet those qualifications, still come talk to us. We are welcoming some students, depending on availability, for those students as well.
Yeah, and I think Dr. Galaviz and I were at a collaboration last month, and just really what the realization for me is that we have over 1,000 students that are 3-year-olds sitting in our district that are going elsewhere, and why not provide that opportunity for them? I think of my daughter when she was 3 years old, and she was ready. She was ready to learn. She was ready to go out and collaborate and be with others. And had I had that opportunity, I knew that she, I wish there was somewhere that she could go that had a little bit more of a structure to it than daycare. Where there was a certified teacher and just offering that full day opportunity.
We got to think about that, because I in my previous life as a reporter, I went to and I was an education reporter. So I went through to this early childhood education reporting conference, and I remember this stuck out to me because they kept saying it's not daycare, it's childcare, right?
It's
because
child
you're not taking care of the day, you're taking care of the child.
Oh, that's good.
And that always stuck out to me, and it always, but more so is the fact that when I was there, I learned that there's a lot of apprehension from some families, especially families that would benefit the most from 3-year-old programs and even 0-year programs. A lot of families are apprehensive about sending their kids to school until the very last moment, right? They want to send them to us in kinder and sometimes even first grade, because in Texas, you don't have to send your kids to school until the first grade. We offer kinder, we offer pre-K, but they're not mandatory. And some families do keep their children at home, and those are the kids that we see struggling.
Yeah, we do, because again, it's just that one parent or two parents at home, and it's around maybe siblings. Yeah, youngest at 12, but it's still not structured. You know what I mean? It's still not. You get up or a routine day. You don't have experts. And I would say my mom was an expert, right?
Yeah.
Everyone, mom and dad, are experts in childcare, but it's just not.
Well,
It's that socialization.
And families are still the experts in giving the educación, right? I mean, we talk about that word educación in Spanish, and educación in Spanish means more than just going to school. It means those social norms, those that civic sort of connection that people receive, and that's great. They get that at home, and we don't want to take that away from families. But definitely, when it comes to formal education, our schools and our teachers are doing, are going above and beyond in getting trained, getting educated, and making sure that we're providing the services that they're.
It's like when your kid is 2 or 1 and they get sick, you don't try to find out what's wrong with. You take them to a provider, a nurse practitioner, a doctor. You don't try to do that.
Right.
But when it comes to educating, we're the experts.
Yes.
Right. Dr. Arellano, Sandra Carrillo, our teachers studied that.
Yes.
So they.
Yeah, and I think it makes for an easier transition as you move along, as you get into 4-year-old pre-K, kinder. And I think too, what I appreciate about our district is the safety.
Yeah.
I think if that's a concern of a parent, having an officer at every campus and just providing that environment where they're going to be fed free meals, and they're in a place that's safe. We follow that structure. We have the curriculum intentionally in place to help them learn art, music, dance. I mean, they're exposed to so much, and so it's just a great opportunity.
Yeah, you bring a great point, because they're maybe nowadays the apprehension is they safe. They want to keep them close to them, and yes, our schools are safe. Yes, our schools provide free meals, and yes, our school provide structured education by certified teachers. And if your option is to send them to a child care facility, nothing against them. They're great, and they do great work, but they're not always being led by certified teachers that are following a curriculum that's going to benefit them in the long run.
Child cares are for profit.
Yes.
So it's we're not for profit.
Right.
So child care cares more about, so they can't afford teachers. They can't afford, usually the owner, they go under the certification of the degree of the owner. And so they hire, kids that are 18, 19 to go and to do these activities. Most of their activities.
Yeah, mostly it's making sure that it's a holding space for them, right?
It's busy, whether childcare, daycare, it's just somewhere to put your kid for the day while you work.
Right.
And then you pay this
and
facility.
you pay a lot.
You pay a lot. You pay this facility and you go. But here at we're not for profit.
Right.
We're for the betterment of our society, in which this kid learns to socialize. This kid learns. We learn their learning style. They stay And so it's for me, it's for the greater good. And that's why we need our legislators, our federal, to open up education for all kids, regardless of where you live, no matter what your parents do. All kids deserve access.
Early childhood is such a critical part of education, and study after study shows that that kids that go through pre-K 3, pre-K 4, and kinder just outperform their peers that don't. And why it's not mandatory, why it's not funded the way that the rest of our traditional public school system is beyond me.
Well, why doesn't our governor do something? Why doesn't
our
our
legislature
governor
not giving our teacher pay raises? Why is not, why are they relying again on school districts to do the hard work and offer the pay raises that our teachers deserve? I mean, that's a question that the voters need to...
back in the 60s, when my brothers and sisters, you go do a sit-in. You go do a sit-in at the Capitol. You demand the governor have a special session. Because don't tell me you're about kids, but but your actions are not for kids, for all Texas kids. It's for your rich... I don't want to get off on that tangent.
On the voucher issue, here we are. Instead of focusing on vouchers to send your kids to schools that may not be staffed by certified teachers, give us the money so we can do pre-K 3 programs in every school and hire more Montessori teachers and look for other programs that are going to benefit all students. Including those students that can't afford to go to those schools. If they want to come to our schools for free, they can do it. Because all these programs that we're talking about right now are free.
That's why all those elected officials, all those trustees that are going to San Antonio and then Fort Worth, they should be at the Capitol. I don't know what you're doing in San Antonio. I don't know what but right now we need action. We really do. We need action by our elected officials, by all educators, like our district advisory committee. They should be calling the governor about. But anyways, sorry, Laura. I know I'm about to go.
So let's bring it back to our great programs that.
Heck no, I won't go. Heck no.
But heck yes, we will go to early childhood education here in Canutillo ISD.
Yes.
Those parents that are interested and want to know more, they can log on to our website. They can register now for all grades, including brand new students. If they want to come, they can log on to our website, www.canutillo-isd.org. Click on the register tab, and they can start the process to be welcomed to your school district. They can call the school nearest to their home to find out more about what we offer there, not just for pre-K 3, pre-K 4. And if you have a question, give us a call. Our numbers are listed. My cell phone's even listed on the website. Give me a call. I'll send you to the right person to talk to. We want to make sure that people understand that Canutillo ISD is a leader in providing high quality services to parents and students, and we welcome students to come join our family, join our school district. We're the best small school district in Texas for a reason, and we're the AAA rated school, despite what other school district might say, we are the only AAA rated school district in the city. I'll name him because I've had this conversation with him. Isleta is not the only A-rated school district in the city. We also are, and we also serve the city of El Paso. But make sure, take a look at us. We have been kicking butt for a long time here, and we're ready to welcome students from throughout the West Side.
Yeah, and a big shout out to Dr. Galaviz and Dr. Kearney, because I know Dr. Kearney, her vision, and Dr. Galaviz's vision to make these things possible, and the support that they find ways to make this happen. So, it's definitely the leadership as well. So
It's
it's
our
great
board of
for our
trustees.
community, our board of trustees who supported the pre-K and kinder aides, and that's something that parents need to know, is that these teachers are not alone in the classroom. The ratio's small. 15, 20 to 1, and there's an instructional aide who's in there with the teacher. So that's something that that's valuable.
Yeah, and you know, this community has been supporting all these great initiatives.
Support the bond.
And you know, in
Supporting
some
bond.
ways and not supporting it in other ways. But it's important to note that you know, we continue to be a leader in education. We continue to provide high quality programming in spite of some of the financial challenges that we're facing, in spite of the lack of access to, you know, modern facilities, all these things that are challenges and that are roadblocks for us in this community. We're not letting them get in the way of making sure that we provide the top-notch education to the kids that we do have, and we want to make sure that we continue to do this. We want to make sure we do have access to those facilities. We do have access to those to funding for that type of programming. We hope to make our case again to the community pretty soon, and hopefully convince them that this is worthwhile and that this is something that's going to help us not just meet the standard that we've set already, that we are going to go beyond it and really be not a leader just in Region 19 and in El Paso, but be a leader in the state and in the Southwest.
Yep. Si se puede.
Yep.
Cesar Chavez.
Happy
Father's Day. Happy Father's Day.
Oh, it's Father's Day.
Happy
Yeah.
Father's Day.
Let your fathers play golf. Let your fathers, mothers.
Doug, happy Father's Day to you.
Let your dads go. Don't try to put a leash.
I think that's a pretty personal message to Mrs. Galaviz for that day, but no. Happy Father's Day to you, Doc, and
to your dad,
and
to
to all
Mr.
the
Peter and
all the
Mr.
kind of Theo
Harvey,
dads.
RoboCop.
Thank you. Thank
all the
you.
kind of Theo dads. Have a great. Thanks for everything you do to help us educate our kids, and enjoy your day. And we will see you next week.
I gave birth to 2 kids too, just not her. All right, take care.